everyone. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to day two of AWS Cloud Learning Challenge. Today, we will be talking about introduction to AWS Compute services and understanding a lot of great, interesting, and exciting stuff. And I'm excited to kick off our session on this topic. Today, we will explore how AWS enables us to run applications seamlessly in the cloud. Whether you are new to AWS or have some experience, this session is designed to be interactive and engaging. And I'll be having some interactive questions in between, fun facts, and a lot of amazing stuffs. So let's get started. Talking about our agenda today. Here's our roadmap for today's session. We will start by understanding the basics of AWS and cloud computing. Then we'll focus on compute services, our most important topic today, covering virtual machines through EC2, auto-scaling groups, and load balancers. And I'm pretty sure you'll be thrilled to know the applications of these auto-scaling groups and load balancers when I relate it with real-life examples. We'll also explore AWS Lambda and container services. Later, we'll discuss security, cost management, and real-world issues and cases. I encourage you to ask questions at any time during our session so it can be more interactive and not just one-way communication, seeing the presentation and I'm on the only one talking. Okay, so a small short recap. I know they also took a recap, but yeah, before we zoom into the compute services, let's understand what AWS is. It stands for Amazon Web Services, a cloud platform that provides over 200 fully featured services. As you can see on your screen, these services are still scrolling and it's like never ending. So there are 200 plus and it's always increasing and AWS is constantly working on introducing newer and better services very frequently. With AWS, companies enjoy scalable, flexible, and cost-effective solutions backed by a global network of data centers. Essentially, it's like having a global computer lab at your fingertips. And yep, the key benefits are mentioned on your screen right there. Its largest community of customers and past partners. It's one of the most secure cloud computing platform. Fastest pace of innovation, definitely. And the proof is right on your right portion of the screen. The the innovative services they have been launching and releasing, and its most proven operational expertise. Okay, it's still not ending. You can see there are a lot of things. Game lab, location service, amplify, game sparks. So yeah, there's a lot to explore, a lot more to go, and you will definitely enjoy this learning challenge. So let's move on. Yeah, this thing I want to talk about, it definitely proves the concept of most functionality and why these services are available and largest network of partners and community. It's almost available in every region of the world. You can see this map. You can also refer to AWS website. It's an interactive map. Once you select the map and click any point, it will show you how many availability zones and regions are there. So you can take a look at this brief highlights. It's 114 availability zones, 36 regions, each with multiple availability zones, 700 plus CloudFront things. Yeah, talking about CloudFront, Shivam covered it yesterday. So if you can relate it with that, that would be really amazing. And with the help of that, we can access the data from any region in any part of the world from anywhere with lowest latency and fastest retrieval for the information. Okay, so now let's talk about our main topic for today, cloud computing and compute parameters basically and fundamentals. So cloud computing is about accessing resources, various resources like servers, storages, and variety of application on demand over the internet. The beauty lies in elasticity. You can easily scale up and scale down anytime during busy times or scale down to save costs, manage cost effectively, and AWS manages the physical infrastructure, freeing you to focus on your applications rather than hardware maintenance. And it was covered briefly in yesterday's session about the elasticity and pay-as-you-go pricing model, scaling resources, physical hardware, and comparing it with traditional systems, why it is beneficial. So all the students who were there yesterday can definitely relate to these points. Okay, let's talk about some famous compute services now. So what are compute service by the way? So these are the services that provide computing power to run application. They are basically the engines that power your applications in the cloud. They can range from a large variety of things, from virtual machines like EC2 to serverless services like Lambda and even container orchestration. If you have worked with containers, Docker, etc., so you can relate it with this. And container orchestration options like ECS and EKS, these are services provided by AWS for working with containers. And today we'll look at each of these in detail and take a deeper dive and see how they fit different application needs. Okay, so let's start with EC2. I'm pretty sure many of you who are present must have definitely heard of EC2 once in their college life because it's one of the most common service provided by EC2 and provided by AWS, sorry, and it's most widely used also in most of the applications. So it basically allows you to rent virtual servers and you can refer to them as instances and you can create multiple instances, configure each of them independently, isolate them in your workflows, and each instance can have different configurations. And then you can choose the instance types, operating system. Yeah, since these are similar to virtual machines, they definitely need some operating system to work on, like Linux, Windows, etc. And AWS provide a variety of options to choose from. And yeah, definitely scale resources as needed. It like relates with the pay-as-you-go pricing model also. And there are a variety of key offerings. EC2 offers different families of instances. General purpose instances like T3 or M5 are great for balanced workload. You might get confused like what is T3 or M5. I'll be covering them better in the next slide. So while compute optimized instances such as C5 are designed for heavy processing tasks and memory optimized instances are also there like R5. They are perfectly for high memory consumption or memory intensive applications. And also there are storage in optimized instances. So you can see that AWS has categorized these EC2 instances into different things like uh, memory, storage, compute, depending on the applications that you're performing. It's important to choose the right instance type based on your application's need. And these are key offerings summarized in these points. So the next slide is really interesting. And I have a table for comparative analysis of these things. So, yep. Um, think of EC2 as a renting virtual computer in the cloud, where you can choose your operating system, storage, and network settings. It will offer a variety of types to cater different workload needs. Uh, Based on your application. It's much like choosing the right car for a road trip. Like it can be a sports car or it can be SUV for big family. And there's a big family and small family can refer to the type of application that you're working, like a big project. like uh, let's developing a my application like Microsoft Teams. It's a heavy application, and there are a variety of applications. So depending on the usage, you will choose this from. And yep, this is. I think you should take a screenshot of this because it will be really beneficial for you while referring while you work on your projects in future. So you heard me saying T3, C5, I3, etc. in previous slides. So here's the logic behind that. So AWS has made a proper nomenclature for defining a proper name to each. Uh, did someone speak? Turn on their mic. Okay, continue. Let's continue. So yeah, these are the categories that EC2 instances are divided into: general purposes, compute optimized, memory optimized, accelerated computing, and storage optimized. So, and these are also basically the categories that you can define your project into, and your tasks, more importantly. Like some tasks would require more storage optimization, some would require memory optimizations. So let's take some example from this slide. So I was talking about T family. It is it can be tiny or turbo. So when I was talking about C family, like for gaming application, we need compute optimize. So C is for compute. And C, I also talked about D, dense, H1 stands for HDD at this. And yeah, you can take a brief look at this and description. And yeah, also take a screenshot if you need. Right? These are descriptions provided for each type of service, and you don't get overwhelmed looking at these things. It's just for reference purposes. And the main objective of showing you this is not that you learn that each of these categories are available. Eh, I just want that you should be aware of that there are categories available based on different tasks you are performing, so that you can refer this. This is always available on AWS documentation and in more detail. This is just one single table. AWS has provided multiple tables for comparisons for each family and each item in the family. And yep, I think that's pretty much about this EC2 instances categorization. So let's talk about our interactive analogy. So I thought if I would be covering just topics and moving on to next, that would get kind of boring. So let's make it a bit interactive. Imagine owning your computer versus renting one on demand. So what are the advantages of renting? Can we have an answer in the chat? Or you can speak also. I will have such interactive things after a few number of slides again. And if I'm referring to chat right now, so you can see the question. Imagine owning your computer versus renting one on demand. What do you think are the advantages of renting? This image also talks a lot if you can read from the image. Yeah, we can pay as what we are using, less initial cost for ownership. Right. It's cheaper, less upfront, less maintenance. Yep, all of them are really nice, correct answers. And this shows that you are active and been listening to what our other speakers also said, and in this session also. Cost is less as we only need to pay as we want to use. Yeah, right. We can definitely rent our type of instance we want, and yeah, storage to computer, original storage, accessible from anywhere, any device. Yeah, that's one of the most important thing. Since it's available on cloud renting, yeah, no headaches for maintaining the servers, no extra staff required. Great. So you all are in sync. I'm really happy to see. And increase performance without owning the expensive computer. Right, exactly. You can definitely scale on demand as and when you see the traffic increasing and your applications increase. or your requirements increase. Definitely. Great answer. So I will just give a clap if it's visible in the. So yeah, clap for everyone. Yeah. Prevents the hassle of spending time in selecting the type of computer, as AWS provides accurate and relevant description for each. Exactly. Yeah. Accurate and relevant description for each. Definitely. The slide. This is just the this is a image I took from Google and it was available on some other website. But once you search for AWS instance types and refer to the actual documentation provided by AWS, you would see how nicely they have framed with how simple examples and simple language they have completed these topics and covered all the core concepts. So yeah, always keep in mind when in doubt, just refer AWS documentation or search Google. The first result would be definitely from AWS documentation. Yep, that's like your Bhagavad Gita for AWS. So yeah, let's move on now to our next topics. So next topic, auto scaling groups, and this is where like literally the heart and soul or one of the most important applications of cloud computing, or it like covers it is used in almost every domain these days. Like where the software domains I'm talking about, and this image is also self-explanatory. These groups basically monitor your application's demand and automatically adjust the number of EC2 instances, or you can say VMs, virtual machines, is accordingly, and it will scale. When traffic increases, more instances are launched to maintain the performance, and when demand drops, instances are terminated to save the costs. See, auto scaling groups, and its name itself speaks a lot. Auto scaling means all this happens automatically. You don't need to manually monitor the traffic and demand for your application. AWS services just at few clicks turn on the auto scaling groups functionality, add the EC2 instances, define minimum size, desired capacity will be used, and the maximum size. The scaling will be taking place between the minimum and maximum of these. And these each blocks refers to EC2 instances or VMs. Sorry. So yeah, see, this was the desired capacity. So 6 instances were used, and let's say on a heavy traffic day, like Amazon's or Flipkart sale, or let's take more relatable example from Swiggy, Instamart, or Zepto like stuff. It's Valentine's Day, so everyone would want to surprise their partners on at 12 a.m. maybe. They will try sending gifts, cakes, and it will be delivered in 10 minutes. So these companies prepare in well in advance before any event because they are aware that at this time the traffic would definitely go up and they would receive high demand in services, high orders, and you must have heard news like on New Year days or 31st December, most of the people are ordering food from outside, and it was always in news like they received uh, lakhs of orders per hour, lakhs of orders. So imagine the quantity of the compute power being used there, and it was all handled without any manual intervention. Auto scaling groups definitely ensures high availability because they can definitely not take a loss, like losing their customers and showing that they are weak to their competitors. It maintains performance during peak times, cost effectively, and scale down during the lower times. This automatic scaling is like having an elastic team that grows and shrinks based on your workload. Okay, I think that covered it. So let's move on to next topic. Load balancers. Yeah, another fundamental concept. It's related to scaling and it's different from auto scaling groups, but yeah, I will cover it. So the simple definition is right in front of you. It distributes the incoming traffic across multiple servers to ensure no server. single server gets overloaded, improving performance and availability. You can refer to it as a subset of autoscaling groups. So autoscaling groups works basically on the principle of using these load balancers. So they use load balancers to increase the number of instances and increase or decrease the number of instances based on the demand. So they distribute the incoming network traffic across multiple instances to ensure no single server becomes overwhelmed. You can definitely not put a lot of load on a single server because even though it might work, but the operations would be really slow. So AWS offers different load balancers. For example, the application load balancers for web applications, your websites, and the network load balancers for high throughput needs. And also the classic load balancer for simpler scenarios. This ensures that your applications remain available and perform optimally, even during high traffic periods. So these are the types. And you can always check this on AWS when you get time to get time for some hands-on experience. And yeah, key benefits are it improves availability and it is fault tolerance and prevents any single server from creating a bottleneck situation. Okay, let's move on. AWS Lambda. So the previous service were based on compute power. We turned them on. When till the time they are turned on, they would definitely use the compute power and like keep on adding cost to your total bill. But this is where AWS serverless services comes into action and even further help you reduce and manage your costs. So the serverless revolution, right? Um, the most famous service of provided by AWS which is serverless is AWS Lambda, which represents the serverless paradigm. Uh, so it basically allows you to write your code and set it to run when a specific event occurs. So if you have studied about triggers in like DBMS, etc., so the query executes when the action is triggered, like on delete or on update or on creation. So similar to this, there are multiple events that can occur in AWS, and with respect to that event, Lambda function will be triggered. Um, like a basic example is like a file upload or an API request without ever provisioning or managing a server. This model is not only cost effective, like you pay only for the actual compute time, but also incredibly efficient for event-driven applications. So the code and compute power will only be used and you will only be billed when the function is triggered. So isn't that really nice? Instead of keeping a service like EC2 or something else running the whole day, if you have working on a small application or a small part of application, you can definitely use a serverless service, AWS Lambda. It is event driven and will only use the compute power when it's triggered. So भाई pay as you go में भी help करेगा काफी. Okay, let's move on to the next. Containerizations. Yep, another important thing. Container services. AWS provides multiple services for containerization, and these are just a few of them: ECS, EKS, and Fargate. So containers allow you to package an application with all its dependencies, so it can run consistently across any environment. Um, That's the main concept of using containers. If any of you have used them in your projects, so it helps you in isolating the environment and run consistently across any environment. AWS offers several container services, uh, like ECS for native container management, EKS for those who prefer Kubernetes, and Fargate for which lets you run containers without managing in the underlying servers. This flexibility This flexibility definitely speeds up deployment and makes scaling applications much simpler. And yeah, these are the full forms. ECS stands for Elastic Container Service. EKS for Elastic Kubernetes Service. Fargate, Service Compute, no server management. And AWS will handle all that. And definitely flexibility. Deploy, manage, and scale containerized applications. Yep. And if you are wondering what these symbols are, so for each of the service, AWS has defined certain symbols. The second slide or the third slide, you saw a page constantly scrolling and showing. So these are the icons. Every service has an unique icon given assigned to it. Okay, let's talk about real world use cases and examples. Let's look at how these services are applied in the real world. For instance, many e-commerce platforms rely on EC2 for their core infrastructure. Uh, Definitely because it's one of the most important service for computing, compute power and virtual machines. It is used for auto scaling and load balancing to manage traffic during flash sales or holiday seasons. AWS Lambda powers real-time processing tasks like image analysis, or chatbots. Um, Containers are increasingly popular for deploying microservices that keeps applications modular and agile. These examples show how AWS compute services drive innovation across industries. And these are the key offerings: auto scaling, load balancing, serverless computing, Lambda service, containers. So you can see all the software projects, at least they use one of these services. And there are many more which I haven't mentioned yet. So this image speaks a lot about this. Scaling databases and handling the load, networking and compute power, storage and whatnot. Cybersecurity also. All the domains. In fact, IoT, AWS IoT has a separate, has a lot of separate services. Okay. Security and best practices for compute. So security is paramount in any computing environment, right? And I also mentioned it earlier that it is one of the most secure cloud computing service provider, AWS. So AWS provides built-in security features such as firewalls, identity and access management, IAM. It was also covered in brief in yesterday's session, and encryption mechanisms. Sorry. So for best practices, always keep your instances updated, monitor performance and security logs closely, and enforce strict access controls. These steps definitely ensure that your applications remain secure while you scale. And when I talk about monitoring and logging, AWS CloudWatch is one of the most important service provided by them. And no matter which service you are using, EC2, RDS, or any other load balancers, etc., or even a complete architecture defined, the AWS CloudWatch is defined like defined very well, really well, to keep monitoring the application or any service that is being used currently. It will show you logs of every minute or maybe every seconds, or whenever a function is triggered, or whenever certain event happens, anything like that. So CloudWatch is really essential in this thing. And you will definitely be using this while working on your projects to monitor the health of your application. You definitely don't want the application to crash anytime. So you should be monitoring all the services be there, that's not a lot of load is being put on the single server, or some application is having a causing too much cost. So you must refer to that, like if you are not using more than required, like you wanted a tiny family of EC2, but you were using a compute optimized, like a power consuming EC2 instance. So that would increase the cost a lot. So you would be able to manage it and monitor and get alerts that you're exceeding the cost or your limits and the performance of applications. Okay. So yeah, these are the services: security hub, security leak, secrets manager, detective, etc. There are many other services for security and best practices. Now let's talk about money, cost. सबको खर्चा कम करना है and we definitely want to save our money. So AWS provides multiple services for handling and managing the costs that that's being generated on the basis of services that we are using. So cost optimization helps us in resource using all our resources efficiently and minimize our expenses. So you can use AWS Cost Explorer to monitor and analyze spending to identify cost saving opportunities. Like the example I gave you in earlier slide, like you were using a compute optimized when you required only a tiny EC2 instance. Cost management is a critical aspect of using cloud service, and AWS provides flexible pricing models such as on-demand pricing or reserved instances for long-term savings. You can reserve an instance for like a year or three, and it will give you less cost instead of paying monthly for it. And you can use spot instances for lower cost, but they are not much reliable because they can be shut down anytime. Um, Although this happens in very less scenarios, but yeah, if your focus is on using lower cost and your tasks are not that critical that they need high availability, you can definitely use spot instances. To optimize cost, choose the right instance size, leverage auto scaling to match your actual usage. Um, Definitely, like auto scaling is we've covered it in previous slide. The number of EC2 instances of power used was handled automatically based on the traffic. So that's why our cost is always minimal because we are only paying for what we are using. And yeah, choose the right instance size, leverage auto scaling to match your actual usage, and use tools like AWS Cost Explorer to monitor and adjust your spending. It's really effective cost optimization, and it can make a big difference whether you're a startup or a large enterprise. Okay, next part, next interactive thing. So it's a way out. Like if I am too tired of speaking and I'm I need a break, so I put you to work and have an interactive question in between. So I've covered a lot of services and concepts till now in this slide. So according to you, what AWS Compute service do you find most interesting so far and why? Or most curious about to learn? So let's have it in the chat. Auto scaling, Lambda, yeah, serverless service, auto scaling. I see. Also add a why. The question is most interesting and why. Auto scaling at reduced cost. Hmm. Yes, everyone, go ahead. I've covered so many services and topics. Which one did you find more interesting and why? Because that will definitely show your understanding. In AWS Lambda, you are partially correct. No need to worry about scaling, but you need to worry about coding because Lambda is basically a function. Okay. So that function has some code. So you definitely need to put in your code there. And it that code only runs when certain event occurs. So that's the thing. But yeah, nice. It is cool to provide services according to needs, flexibility and less dependence on hardware, right? How serverless stuff works in case of Lambda. Yep, serverless stuff basically, see, the term serverless doesn't actually mean that servers are not being used. It just that means they are used uh, comparatively lesser as compared to different services. Uh, in the sense, like some service like EC2, you need to keep them on running, and till the time they are being on or available and running, you will be billed for that many hours or minutes. But when we talk about AWS Lambda, since it's serverless, so it will use server, but only when it is triggered to do so. And when we define a Lambda function, we add an event to it, like event monitoring thing, which allows Lambda to know when this code should run. So let's say S3 bucket and Lambda. So I created a Lambda function to print hello world, and I only want to print hello world only when in a certain S3 bucket I upload something. So let's see. Uh, if I create S3 bucket named test, I upload an image there. So this is an event for the Lambda function. An image was uploaded to the S3 bucket, which was assigned to this Lambda function. So Lambda got this news, and it will execute the code in it. It can be Python, JavaScript, anything. And so let's say it's Python. It has one line code, print hello world. So that will be executed. So that's how it will work. I hope I answered it correct. You understood it, Shraddha. And yep, that's right. Great, great response. So I see you all are active audience, nice audience. And again, clap, clap for yourself, everyone. Nice. Okay. Yes, Raj, you raised your hand. Any question? Okay, I guess it was mistake. AWS is the best. Okay, nice. Yeah, definitely the best. Because it's a club also, AWS Cloud Club. Okay. But yeah, honestly speaking, and you cannot definitely say any particular service provider as well, because all of them are good in their own domains. Like AWS may be better in providing virtual machines, and Google Cloud Console might be better in providing AI and ML related stuffs. Azure might be better in providing networking services. So that's the thing. But yeah, if we talk about beginners, AWS is definitely the best because it's comparatively easier to begin with and learn. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. So another thing to grab your attention, fun facts time. Just give it a read. I've also highlighted the important points, and some of the points you will be thrilled to know that this is actually happening. All this fact, and I will also give it a read for you. AWS handles over 1 trillion requests per day, and it's always increasing. And since it's supporting the big names like Netflix, Airbnb, and also you are aware that Netflix, Airbnb, NASA user base is always increasing and it's always going to increase in future and scale. So these 1 trillion requests per day will also increase. Maybe 1 trillion requests per hour it will turn in future. And AWS will still be able to handle this thing. So you can see the power of cloud. You cannot do this on your own computer machine. And AWS cloud is bigger than the moon. Uh, it means like total physical infrastructure AWS has globally. uses across the global data centers is so vast that it could cover the surface area of Moon. Even I got to know about this today while searching for fun facts. And yeah, largest global infrastructure, the map that I showed you in the starting. And also, AWS Cloud is greener. Yeah, its theme is orange, but yeah, it's greener. Uh, because it's committed to reaching 100% renewable energy. All these compute services used 1 trillion requests. So you can imagine the power being used, servers used, and resources being used every day, every minute, every second. So it harms the environment, right? But AWS is trying its best to become greener and reach 100% renewable energy for its global infrastructure and sustainable future, sustainable development definitely, and innovative AI. So AI, it's self-explanatory. If there's every day something new in AI, and AWS is not lagging behind. It's introducing, integrating AI services to its already existing services to make your work easier. So yeah, I hope your reaction was like this, cat, when you read this. Okay, let's move on. And we are towards the end. I hope you didn't get tired. Uh, let's recap and takeaways. Uh, To wrap up the technical content, let's recap our key takeaways. We discussed EC2 for running virtual machines and how autoscaling groups, along with load balancers, maintain performances during the demand spikes. AWS Lambda offers a serverless model that's perfect for event-driven applications, while containers streamline the deployment of microservices. We also touched on the importance of security and cost optimization. These elements together form the backbone of AWS Compute services, all the services that we talked about today. And let me tell you, these were just a few of them. There are much more and many more services that even I'm not aware of and tried yet. And you might be aware of them, or you can definitely get to know more about them when you work on AWS in future and use any of these AWS services. And the fact is, when you work on project or use one thing, you will definitely find something that another AWS service relate to using this service, like EC2 related with auto scaling and load balances. Similar relations you will find with something else, Lambda with S3 maybe, and whatnot. Okay, so steps, climb the ladder, it's time. Next steps, get started. We talked a lot of theoretical things and examples, but let's be more practical. And don't worry, I won't be covering practical things right now. You need some rest. So put your knowledge into action. As and when you get time, just follow these simple steps. And or maybe just type AWS free tier on your browser, Google. Open the first link and you will see how many services, how many amazing services AWS offer for free for the first year of creating an account. You just need to put in your credit card or debit card, I think, for billing purposes. But don't worry, you won't be charged for that for 1 year for all the services that are listed in the AWS free tier. And that's well documented on their website. Just type AWS free tier on Google, refer to it. I encourage you to get hands-on, sign up for AWS free tier and try launching your own EC2 instance. Experiment by creating simple Lambda function like hello world and that responds to an event, and explore container services if you have used earlier with sample projects. And these practical steps are the best way to solidify your understanding. So yeah, keep a note of them, or yeah. I think the first point would be sufficient for you. Just type AWS free tier. I highly recommend this. And open the first web page that loads. Uh, it's AWS, and you will be amazed to see the number of services and what all you can do in your existing projects. resources and further learning. There's a wealth of resources available to help you dive deeper into AWS. Check out AWS training and certification for structured courses. And don't worry, most of them are free. Majority of them are free. You have separate platform, AWS Skill Builder, etc. for courses, videos, notes. Explore the AWS documentation definitely whenever in doubt. Because the thing is, you cannot always use ChatGPT or any AI model like Gemini when working on cloud because this cloud services are continuously evolving and changing, developing. And these ChatGPT and Gemini have uh, old data, might have old data sometimes because they are not updated every day. So that's why I recommend whenever you are stuck somewhere while working on the project, just follow the AWS standards given on provided on their website and refer to AWS documentation for whatever service you are stuck with. And I'm pretty sure that would help you figure out uh, figure a way out of your situation. And yeah, it has engaging with the community is a great way to learn and stay updated on the latest trends. It has one of the biggest community on Reddit, Discord, Google, AWS community separately, or Reddit and YouTube. Definitely. You will easily find help whenever in need. Okay. So last thing, impact on society. We will be ending with this slide. Um, I want you all to give it a read because it's for you. You are the future, and it will be really helpful and might increase your interest knowing these things. I will also give it a brief read. AWS allows startups and small businesses to access powerful tech without massive investment. There is AWS for startups, and they provide funding or free tier, extensive free tier, or less cost for small businesses to help them grow. So in future, if you want to have your own startup, just type AWS for startups, and you will find something there on their official page. Cost efficiency, pay-as-you-go pricing, help businesses save a lot of money. In traditional model, they used to have uh, on-premises services, but now uh, they have everything on the cloud. Job boom, definitely self-explanatory, and global connectivity, power social media, remote work, online services, connect people everywhere with lowest latency and anytime when retrieving some information. Healthcare and education. It has definitely helped in education a lot for storing content online, enables faster research. Like some medical research like require high compute power. So yeah, AWS helps at scalable online learning, improving globally. Green tech. AWS is on track to, yeah, this point was covered earlier. Renewable energy, sustainable development. Okay. And yeah, one last example I want to take. You might not know it, or you might have known it now after, if you have some good intuition after covering the topics. Uh, Many of us watch sports or Netflix, uh, and it's always available on some platform like Geo Cinema, the IPL, FIFA, anything, or Netflix, some new release, movie release on Netflix. So they use something really important to manage this load. Let's say it's India's T20 World Cup final match. Uh, the companies like Jio Cinema or Hotstar, on whichever platform it is streaming, they are definitely aware of the fact that there will be really, really high traffic and lot of demand all of a sudden as soon as the match starts compared to their regular working hours. The demand would certainly increase and it might create a bottleneck. So, but you still don't. see any latency in your streaming application on Hotstar or Jio Cinema. You don't see buffering. You don't see anything like video paused or the quality is degraded, video's quality. It almost works flawlessly, and sometimes you can even interact with the page and chat on the go. And 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 this time in IPL, I guess, Jio Cinema provided multicam support if you tried that feature. Like you can focus on one person, like let's say captain of the team, or on the pitch, or complete view of the field, anything like that. Wicket stumps view. There were multiple cameras, and all of them were available to you in just a single click on the Jio Cinema app. And it worked flawlessly without any latency at all, almost. So they used load balancers for handling this. So whenever you use the application on client side, that is front end side, it's not visible. But when you open application and start the stream, you are assigned. It's not necessary that you and your friend would be assigned on the same server. It keeps on switching, and even it even switches. Like you started the video stream, you wanted a break, you close the stream and start it again. So it's not necessary that your stream would continue on the same server that you were working on previously. And even it will change when you refresh the page. So that's how flawlessly it works behind the scenes. Load balancers. They distribute the traffic. That is you, the people that are watching the IPL match or World Cup. Whenever they open the Hotstar app or any app, they are assigned different servers, and this it works flawlessly. The streams, you never see buffer, video quality compromises, etc. So yeah, that was one real life example that most of us could relate to in simple terms. I hope I was able to explain it. And yep, it's time up. Thank you for your attention and active participation today. I hope this session has been really amazing and help you gain some better understanding in compute services and spark their interest. Now, I would love to open the floor for any final questions or comments or suggestions, feedback, or anything. Feel free to ask, from EC2 specifics to cost optimized strategies. Thank you once again, and I look forward to connecting with you. I am Ankit Patne, signing off. I'm in B8, final year. Okay, bye.
Okay, nice. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we are open to questions again. Um, Hello. Oh, I don't think I'm visible, but hello, guys. I will.
Hello. Yeah, guys. Now the floor is open for the question. You can ask the question in the chat section, or if you want, you can unmute your mic. Yeah. So we have the question. I had small question. If high tech like AWS exists, why does AI still use a physical data centers to run?
If
Um,
high tech like AWS exists, why AI still uses physical data centers to run? Okay, so there are a lot of like companies, data centers who run on premises only. They don't use cloud because the data is very sensitive for them. Like if you understand if you have a credit card company, you would naturally not want to go for cloud and have your own server. Okay, so that's why some AI based companies, not AI based companies, honestly, the big tech companies don't use it. Hey, could you please explain
yeah.
what do you actually mean by virtual machines and how they looks, how are the servers or something else? Okay, so just EC2 you guys studied, right? Abhi now Ankit explained you guys. So EC2 is basically a virtual machine only. If you guys have used VirtualBox, it is something similar to that only. So yes, you are creating virtual machines on on cloud. And if you are asking what do you mean by virtual machine, मतलब तू cloud पे एक computer बना रही है basically. You are having a computer on cloud, and you can have multiple computers to log in on cloud. Okay, that's what it means basically. Virtual machine, you can just understand you are using a machine virtually. Okay, तो machine virtually मतलब over the internet. Okay.
Yeah. So next question, can you please have some more content on the slides? Okay, so that
Make
we
it more
can.
involving.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We'll take your feedback.
Yeah.
Um, Sakshi, I want to ask about the certification. Like, do we need to fill any form every day? No, you don't need to fill any form every day, but you need an attendance of 5 out of 7 sessions to get the certifications. Okay. I hope that answers.
Yeah, guys. Any other questions?
Hello, Daksh here. Can I
Yep,
ask
yep.
a question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I just heard about it a few months back that
Mhm.
Netflix is trying to transfer its servers from AWS to Google Cloud Platform
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
its biggest competitor now is Prime Video since the
Mhm.
last few years. So
Mhm.
what's that all about? I just wanted to ask.
What's that? Sorry.
So what's the concern of them that will they use their Netflix data to improve the Prime Video's performance or?
Okay, see now, see first question that comes into mind is Google Cloud better than AWS since Netflix is using it? The quick answer is no. I'm saying that there is no best cloud. Every company would use cloud according to their preference. Okay. Now, if you ask me why Netflix is choosing Google Cloud, if you want me to go in, better terms, Google Cloud is good at data handling. So when it comes to data management and all, personally, from my preference, what I felt was Google Cloud is better because we have a lot of things there. There is Bigtable. Google Bigtable is the most used service, I think, when it comes to databases. So now what Netflix needs is Netflix might be needing some database enhancements. And maybe they feel that yes, Google Cloud is actually better and when it comes to data storage rather than AWS. So yes, that's where the shift comes from. Even there are a lot of other things as involved. Okay, so like maybe the rate, the pricing. Okay, now for DynamoDB, you have a certain pricing for number of reads and number of writes. Similarly, Google also has it, and Google might have it a little bit cheaper. A little bit cheaper, I mean, only like around 0.02 rupees cheaper or $0.03 cheaper. But that is a huge difference when it comes to companies like Netflix. Okay, so that's where it comes. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, is there like a threat they are feeling because Prime Video is kind of the subsidiary of Amazon? So is there any on that topic? I just wanted
See, that I'll always say there are threats in cloud, of course, and like cloud is secure too. Okay, so it's like yeah. Basically, तुम लोग का when you are having your home server, there can be threats too. ऐसा नहीं है सकता. But it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not a concern about the platform. The AWS or Google Cloud. उसका concern नहीं है. They companies usually switch from cloud to cloud for optimization, for money saving, cost optimization. Okay. Or better performance optimization for their applications, whatever that are. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I want to ask about certification. So filling करना है. Where can we give attendance? We get the attendance sheet. Basically, Teams पे there is a functionality. 1 घंटे का lecture रहेगा. अगर 40 मिनट से ज्यादा जो लोग अटेंड करते हैं उन लोग का अटेंडेंस लग जाता है काइंड ऑफ 40-45 I don't remember but लग जाता है. Can you explain lambda function a little bit? Okay, so lambda function कैसा रहता है? Now, basically, first of all, the first concept is lambda is serverless. Now, what does serverless mean? Okay. So, अगर तुम लोगों ने एक Python का function बनाया, okay, if you have created a Python function in your application, तुम लोग का to-do list application है, and you have created a Python function. When you run that Python function, that runs on your local PC, right? Okay. But Lambda function runs on the cloud. Okay. So तुम लोग क्या कर सकते हो? Instead of creating a function in your PC, in your like Python code, what you can do is AWS क्लाउड पे लैम्बडा फंक्शन बनाओ एंड वो जस्ट लैम्बडा फंक्शन इधर कॉल करो तुम लोग के जैंगो केस में, पाइथन केस में, पाइथन के कोड में. ओके, सो बेसिकली योर पीसी वोंट टेक द लोड. एंड अभी अभी ये पूछा तुम लोग का, अभी लाइक फॉर स्मॉल फंक्शंस इट्स ओके, यू डोंट नीड टू यूज लैम्बडा. But like for large functions again, it's not like you have to only use it for large functions, large applications. बहुत सारे उसका applications रहता है lambda का. Okay, here and there. Just to give a basic, just what is a lambda? Basically, lambda is a serverless compute function. Okay. Is IP address used for matching the servers with the device? एक minute. Is IP address used for matching the servers with the device? IP address used for matching the servers with the device and mobile data communication and media for communication. नहीं. So कैसा रहता है उसका? Basically सर्वर का खुद का आईपी रहता है एंड तुम लोग का पीसी का खुद का आईपी रहेगा. ठीक है, फॉर मैचिंग सर्वर्स विद द डिवाइस. हाँ ठीक ठीक, हाँ. तो तुम लोग का जो डिवाइस रहता है उसका खुद का आईपी रहता है, सर्वर्स का खुद का आईपी रहता है. एंड ये कम्युनिकेशन कैसे करते हो तुम लोग? थ्रू एपीआई गेटवे. ओके, तुम लोग अभी यू हैव मस्ट हैव हर्ड अबाउट रेस्ट एपीआई, एचटीटीपी एपीआई, राइट? सो वैसे क्लाउड में भी देयर इज रेस्ट एपीआई गेटवे वेयर यू कैन क्रिएट एचटीटीपी एपीआईज, रेस्ट एपीआईज एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. ठीक है, तो दैट्स हाउ यू कम्युनिकेट बिटवीन देम. और यू कैन एसएसएच, सो एसएसएच करके तुम लोग सर्वर्स में भी जा सकते हो, यू नो, फ्रॉम. अभी बेसिकली तुम लोग का सपोज एक वर्चुअल मशीन क्लाउड पे है एंड तुम लोग को तुम लोग के पीसी से उस पे लॉग इन करना है. ओके, तो व्हाट यू डू इज टेक दैट आईपी, एसएसएच फ्रॉम योर डिवाइस, एसएसएच ईसी टू यूजर करके वो आईपी डाल के यू कैन, यू नो, लॉग इन टू दैट. ठीक है. On ETAB, its displaying challenge has ended and there is no option for RSVP. RSVP, you can't do RSVP right now. So like if you have missed the RSVP, then like you can still attend the sessions, but you won't get the certification. We might think if you are from FE, we'll definitely do something about the, what is that called? SCCA, but certification nahi mil payega, sorry. But of course you can attend. Why the cost of servers are different in different regions and not universal, like same cost? Just a second.
So till then, Himanshu is coming. Till then, guys, any other questions if you like to ask, you can ask that in the chat box. Hopefully, you guys have posted on your social media about the yesterday's session. So don't forget to post about our today's session, day 2 of Cloud Learning Challenge. So I'm showing you the hashtag which you have to use while posting it on the social media.
Okay, nice. Yes, I'm back. Social media for also. You can use the whatever the hashtag, and you can post your learnings today. Yes, the hashtag. Sorry, I had some work. Is IP address? नहीं, ये हो गया. Why the cost of servers are different in different regions and not universal cost, like same cost in any region? तो मेरे को बता, तेरा इंडियन रुपीज एंड तेरा यूएस डॉलर सेम क्यों नहीं है? That's because of the economy, right? So like yeah, basically उसके वजह से अलग अलग है cost सबका. Like but it's इतना differ नहीं होता है. Even if you have you know VMs there, it doesn't cost much. इतना like difference नहीं रहता. But yes, of course, it is gonna cost according to region.
Yep. One more point, like different countries have different tax policies, and that's also one of the important factor.
Yeah, वो भी है. जोक में बोल
And
दिया.
and also like latency and proximity, like some services are not available. Let's say in India have two regions for AWS, like in I guess Hyderabad and Mumbai, but some countries don't have. So their costs are different because AWS needs to transfer or like provide these services in region where they are not available uh, on like physically. So that's also one of the important factor that lead to change of costs on the location.
Also services समझो कौन से थे आज? इसमें compute में services समझे क्या था, what it was about, how was it, how was the session. If you guys have any feedback in general, you can let us know anytime. We'll be working on it.
Yeah, one point on that. Some students said, I guess Arya, like we can have more content on the slides. See, the one important thing is, no matter how much we put on the slide, it won't ever be sufficient for you
Yeah,
to start.
yeah.
Our main purpose or our goal is to just show you the tip of the iceberg, and you know that this thing exists, and the real learning will start when you explore it yourself. So now what our objective was, we just told you like these services exist, cost management, load balances, etc. Now, no matter how much we put on the slide, it won't ever be sufficient for you to start and use it. You will always need to refer to some videos or AWS documentation. So that's the thing. But yeah, definitely you would take this into consideration, add more content on slide. But yeah, that's the thing, a message I wanted to deliver. Hope you get it.
Starting hands-on 6th and 7th day. Yep. Will this next session be interactive? कैसे करना है दक्ष बता मेरे को. We'll do that. Interactive in the sense as a part में या like let me know. No, I meant hands-on. Hands-on, sorry. Hands-on 6th and 7th day पे करेंगे. For now, let's stick with theory. Like theory पढ़ लो थोड़ा. There is a lot of theory out there. And I understand completely you guys must be very jumbled on what is happening right now because thoda vast hai. But like go through the PPTs again, go through some documentations, and yeah, you'll definitely find it interesting. Hands-on करेंगे 6-7 पे करेंगे. Maybe yeah, maybe we'll try to have hands-on इसमें sessions में थोड़ा 5 minutes का वगैरह. Just visual तुम लोग को दिखाने के लिए rather than you implementing it. ठीक है? Any other questions?
Yeah.
We'll wrap up soon. Any other questions?
I think someone has raised their hand.
Yeah.
Prateek.
Yeah,
So
please go ahead. Go ahead.
if you want to speak up, you can just turn on your mic and speak.
Right? ठीक. Anything else? Also, a lot of FEs. I don't know if FEs are here at now, but a lot of FEs messaged me how many hours of credits are we gonna get at this. So you'll be getting 12 to 15 hours of credit from this 7 days step learning. And again, if you are asking me what other things we have to do to cover the 30 hours, that would be we'd be having one more session, one more workshop. That might be offline, online. We'll let you know. And if needed, then we'll give you a certification course, 3 hours or 2 hours a certification course to finish it off. Okay. So that is what is going to be covered in CCA. And one of them asked me, NSEM के पहले हो जाएगा क्या? They wanted time for answer. So yes, हो जाए. Don't worry.
Yeah. Guys, is there any other questions? Sanskruti, Pratik. So yeah. Can we move forward?
Yep. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah. So that was a really insightful session. Thank you, Ankit. And if you want if you want to give any suggestions or feedback, you can give to us. Or don't miss out to mention about today's session or yesterday's session on your social media and tag AWS Cloud Club with the hashtag which I'm showing on the which I'm presenting. Just a second.
How can I get exam discount coupon? वो जो exam vouchers रहते हैं, those are very hard to get. The one I talked yesterday, those are from official AWS. Those are very hard to get. but you can get it through community itself. Like community events जो रहते हैं ना, जैसे this is one of our community event, so you might get it from there. Um, for now, just stick with free resources. Check Ankit ka slide. Yesterday, he had added almost all the free resources that are available. So go through that once. We'll be uploading the slide, right? So तब देख लेना. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is Shivam not there today? He's there. Shivam fans.
Yes, I am
Shivam
here.
fans. Shivam fans.
Oh, that's so great. Even
So
like
great.
today when they were
Okay.
answering some questions, I really felt like, yeah, they had listened to me
Yes. Shivam
because
fans.
yeah, it's so great that yeah, they are excited.
Nice. Okay. I think
Yeah.
ठीक है. Yeah.
So
Pranisha.
don't forget to mention or tag AWS Learning CCPICT Challenge 2025, and do share about today's and all the sessions on your social media. And thank you for your enthusiasm and participation. Stay connected and tune for the day 3. Tomorrow we'll be deep dive into AWS storage and databases. Yeah.
Yep, PPT will be
Yeah.
shared on the same links. Yesterday we sent you guys the YouTube link and the Drive link. So we'll be uploading there only, okay? Yeah, see you guys. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Yesterday I saved this. Oh, ठीक है. ये last question लेता हूँ. Yesterday I saved SSH key pair in my root folder, but now it's not showing. ठीक है. कहाँ पे सेव किया रहेगा तो लाइक लोकली सेव होता है ना वो, तो फिर तूने लोकली जहाँ पे भी सेव किया रहेगा वो तेरे को देखना पड़ेगा. ऐसा गायब नहीं होता वो. अगर अगर प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है तो फिर यू हैव टू क्रिएट अ न्यू एसएसएच की पेयर. फिर से तेरे को डाउनलोड करना पड़ेगा एक एस. नहीं तो क्या कर सकता है पता है क्या, एक और एक वीएम बना, एक EC2 बना और एक, ठीक है, एंड एक की पेयर बना उसके साथ. इमीडिएटली वो की पेयर बना के ये करते सेव करते एंड इमीडिएटली वो वीएम डिलीट करते लाइक टर्मिनेट करते की पेयर यूज करने के बाद. एज लॉन्ग एज यू हैव दैट की पेयर का एक फाइल, यू कैन यूज इट फॉर एनी EC2. ओके. Okay.
जो भी links हमने कल share किए, we'll share it again in the group. So no worries. Don't worry about the PPTs and the YouTube links.
Okay. चलो ठीक है. Bye.